Evening, it's Rich from Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you? Actually, it's more like night. I think it's about 10:30 or so right now. Anyway, I've been pretty busy today, so I haven't had time to get out here and explain to you folks why, for the most part, I haven't been. I've been kind of slow on comments and so forth. And that is because I volunteered to fill in. Company was a little short-handed down at work. I usually just work weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. But due to the fact they were short-handed, I told them, if you need me, I'll come in and work. And they really cashed in on that. Whew. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been really slammed. And anyway, my job down there, about 30% of it is dealing with customers that have issues with livestock and fencing and things of this nature. The other 70% is throwing around 50-pound bags of feed. Okay, you do that for 9 or 10 hours, and let me tell you, yeah, I'm getting too old for this nonsense, especially on a long-term, day after day basis. But I think this week's going to be the end of it. Matter of fact, this weekend, Saturday, I won't be working, so that helps. And that's a good thing because guess what? Danny over at Deep South Homestead, I have watched uh, his live feeds at night on Monday nights. So I never got to watch it live because I'm always working. So this week, Danny, heads up, I'll be out there pestering you. But anyway, so I'm going to get to watch it live and actually maybe, if I have any questions about what he's talking about, I might even throw one out there. You never know. He's a good guy. So if you haven't seen his live feed, it's Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead. Get by there, take a look. I know I'm not sounding as chipper as usually, but I'm pooped. And since I'm planning to do some wood cutting tomorrow, got to get my chainsaw fired up, make sure it's working, so I'm not standing out there in the field pulling my hair out trying to get the chainsaw working. So I'm over here wrapping that up. And see this thing behind me? Don't ever buy one of those things. They are, they are temperamental son of a guns. Yeah, seriously. That's a fairly new saw, and it's every time I want to use it, I come over and have to tinker with it to get it to run. So I went and invest my money in one of them. So anyway, but that's the reason I haven't been responding to comments quite as fast and things of this nature is because I have really been slammed, and for the next week or two, I am going to be pretty much backed up here. I kind of told the boss this week that this got to be it. I got to get back on the farm. I've winter's coming, and I've got a lot to catch up on. So this week ends it, and I go back to just working weekends for him. I did get to go over and look at the live feed that Hope's Homestead did for the Homesteading Network, and I really enjoyed it. Got to say howdy to them and get to hear a little bit more about her husband and things of this nature. It was really enjoyable. So, Cherish, if you're watching this, you did a good job. It was really a nice feed. So, anyway, I've tried to keep my train of thought going here, folks, because like I said, it's 10:30, and man, pretty much pooped. But anyway, some of the stuff that's been going on out there. One of the things I saw is where I guess some guy wanted people to, tell him how they're going to vote encourage their viewers to vote, for their, well, he was trying to get everybody to vote for Hillary Clinton. Uh, I'm sorry. Hillary Clinton belongs in a jail somewhere. If you or I had done what she had done here just with the email stuff, they'd have had handcuffs on us day two. Okay. And by now would be sitting our tushes in Leavenworth. And this lady gets patted on the head by the FBI, and now Hillary, don't worry about it. We know it wasn't anything intentional. Let me explain something to you folks. Yeah, it was intentional. She did not want her emails and her responses to emails ever going public. It would hurt her run for the presidency. So anyway, every time she gets caught lying about it, she's, I misspoke. That word needs to be stricken right out of the English language. No, you didn't misspeak. You lied. Period. That's simple. Okay? When you stand there and say, I didn't do something, and you did, you lied. Period. Okay? Man up, Hillary, and take the credit for what you did, But that's never going to happen, not in this day and age. I worked out in Las Vegas, dealt with a lot of casino owners and so forth. Donald Trump out there had the reputation of being extremely dishonest and a liar. So, and I got that from guys that I had worked with a lot in Vegas, and they were pretty straight shooters. So it looks like you're again faced with the choice of, which evil do I pick? Sad. And the way the American voting public goes about things, it's a popularity contest. They want to be on the winning team. The Republicans and the Democrats are always at each other, and that's exactly what the government wants. Okay, folks, that's exactly what they want. Tell you a real quick story. I worked with a fellow out in Las Vegas, just as liberal of a Democrat as you could get. I swear, if they ran the jackass, he would have voted for it. I'm serious. Him and I avoided. He'd constantly try to talk politics with me, and I would avoid it. But one time at a retirement party for one of our coworkers, him and I talked, and it was kind of interesting because I really, he wanted to talk politics, and I just told him, you and I are not going to agree on most political issues, so why sit here and argue about it? I said, well, why don't we go down a list and see how many things that we can agree on? So we talked about things like illegal immigration. We both agreed. It needs to be stopped. The government's dropping the ball here. We talked about the trade agreements that our country has gotten involved in that's cost so many jobs here in this country. We agreed on that. We talked about a lot of things. The War Powers Act, and how a president should not on his own have the ability, my dogs are ticked because I've got the doors closed to keep the bugs out. Anyway, a president should not have the ability to go get U.S. kids killed without going to Congress. The Constitution, and we both agreed on that, is very clear in the matter. You go to Congress and you ask for a declaration of war, and then you roll up your sleeves and you go get the job done. Not, I've got 90 days to, let you guys know that I'm getting people killed. It's not the way it works, folks. We agreed on those things. We found about 10 different items that this extremely liberal individual and I could agree on. And that's what I told him. I said, the government's got everybody at each other, Republican, Democrat, fighting back and forth. And I'll tell you why they're doing it, folks. Because if you guys ever sit down, the conservatives and the liberal Democrats, and find out that there are a lot of issues going on today that you agree, you totally agree, that's their worst nightmare, folks. Because if you can find common ground, okay, between two what you would think would be opposing factions, when you can find common ground, you can get things done. And if you found the common ground between conservatives and liberals, and they all went to the government and said, these are things we all agree on, and we're demanding that you take action. One of them he agreed on was term limits. Okay? I totally back that. I think when they're in Congress for 20 years, it's probably most of those years are spent lining their pockets and taking advantage of the situation. So it's, every couple of terms, that should be the end of it. It's time for you to go home and some fresh blood come and fill the slot. We do it with the president. Should be no different for congressmen and senators. Okay? Just my personal opinion. And I was shocked that this very liberal Democrat agreed to that 100%. So when it comes to politics, if we can find that middle ground, great things happen. After all, that's how this country was formed. People found middle ground with a lot of opposing viewpoints. Right? So keep yourself open to that. But this clown that was out there trying to get YouTube, I hate the term content providers. Really? Like you read a book and then got online and started talking about it. Here again, he's playing political games. And this is not, the place for it. Not to try to start some kind of war with, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. That's nonsense. So, but anyway, a lot of the homestead sites have jumped in and, put their 2 cents in. Well, I can tell you right now, for a long time, have been dissatisfied with both parties. It seems like we have been moving down the same road. Doesn't matter who's in power. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. We keep going in the same direction. We need a change, folks. We need a constitutional government. We need a government that follows and respects the supreme law of the land. I could spend an hour talking to you about and giving you all the reasons why, if you really look hard, you will find that our government does not view our Constitution as the supreme law of the land. They step around it. They ignore it. The Supreme Court has volumes and volumes and volumes of decisions that they look through to try to decide whether or not the government has constitutional rights in the issue. Number one, the federal government is very limited by that U.S. Constitution, and there's good reason for that. If you don't limit the power of the federal government, they will become a tyrannical government. Look around, folks. You're being given the illusion of freedom. You no longer have freedom. You really don't. Okay? They can take your land. They can take your home. They can take your personal possessions. They can lay claim to all sorts of things, including your very life, without ever giving you due process. Down here in Tennessee, it's been a big thing to where their war on drugs. If they find you carrying too much cash, they'll confiscate it. They'll take it away from you. And you will spend a fortune trying to get it back. Yeah. You may have been carrying $10,000 on in your pocket to go buy a small herd of cattle. You get stopped by the Tennessee State Police, odds are you're going to lose that $10,000. They're going to seize it. And they'll probably buy themselves some new equipment and so forth with it. Because guess what? They get to keep it. Most of it, anyway. Constitutional. Our Constitution says that the government cannot deprive you of your property, your life, or your freedom without due process of law. This day and age, folks, you're guilty. You're going to have to prove you're innocent. And some patrolman alongside the road has got the right to be judge and jury over you right that time. It's happening. Get out there and look. That's the reason our founding fathers told us that they're giving us a republic if we can keep it. But to keep it, it's going to require an informed electorate. Look around. It's a popularity contest. Those are not informed individuals that are going to be showing up at the polls. Okay? It's sad. And it saddens me. But let me tell you what you can do. You can put aside this dog and pony show. There is a party that's got a contender. Of course, you probably haven't heard anything about him. That is a constitutional party. It's called Libertarians. They want to put the government back under the total constraints of the U.S. Constitution. They want to make the U.S. Constitution the supreme law of the land. That's their goal. And you would find that if you do that, a lot's going to change. A lot. Because these people, if we went back to a constitutional government, are going to look in the Constitution and go, yep, can't find anything about the EPA. That's a state issue. If the state wants to protect their environment, the state needs to do that. It is not a federal issue. Abortion. It is not a federal issue. It's a state issue. All these different things that the federal government is tied up in, law enforcement. You look at, we have Homeland Security, we have the DEA, we have the FBI, we have all these different federal law enforcement agencies. Really? The only thing that the Constitution says that the federal government can really, should be involved with as far as law enforcement, is treason. That's it. Do you really think you need all those agencies for that? What does drug enforcement have to do with treason? High crimes and treason. That's it. Go to assassinate an elected official or a president, that falls under the high crimes. Okay? We don't need all that. And basically, what would happen if you force this government back into constitutional constraints? These bureaucracies, Department of Education, disappears. It becomes a state issue. See what I'm saying? A lot of this nonsense that goes on out of the federal government that everybody complains about, there's a party that has the answers to it. It's called make them follow the Constitution. It's called Libertarian. Now, a lot of people will say, you're wasting your vote. You're wasting your vote. Okay? No, I'm not. I'm voting my conscience and my heart. You're wasting your vote on this dog and pony show. It's not a popularity contest, folks. It's whether or not this country continues, period. In any form that is even a reasonable facsimile of what we even have today. And I've lived long enough to see this country deteriorate into a holy mess. Wake up. You want to scare the government? You want to straighten the government out? Sending Donald Trump out there is not going to do it. They're going to just let him sit in the corner somewhere. Send them a message that you demand a constitutional government. If the Libertarians picked up 30 or 40% of the vote, it'd scare them. Might even scare them into a few of them step forward and try to fix it. But this dog and pony show, it's there for your entertainment. Understand that. So, that's my 2 cents on politics. Once you realize what's really going on, you'll realize it's over pretty shortly. You don't have any constitutional protections anymore. The government will do what the government wants to do. They might give you constitutional protections from a bakery that doesn't want to bake your cake, but they're not going to protect you from them. Keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to bed once I finish sweeping up the shop. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I hope you have a better day tomorrow. Really love you guys and appreciate you. I love the comments we've been getting. I've been slow getting back with you, but some of them are very challenging, very interesting. So keep them coming. God bless you. Have a great day. Talk to you later.